Hello everyone and welcome back to Searchlights. As we're waiting for people to join, if you would like to pop into the chat and introduce yourself and let us know whereabout in the world that you are joining us from, it would be lovely to hear from you. And we will make a start in a few minutes when everybody has joined. Well, we can see we've got lots of people joining from different parts of the UK and also people joining from the UAE.
Absolutely. I see someone from the not so sunny North Devon. I'm in a not so sunny Wiltshire.
I'm in a not so sunny Wirral also. More people from Kuwait and Malaysia and Tokyo. Right, we will make a start. It's lovely to see so many of you joining from so many different places in the world. So hello everyone and a very warm welcome back to Searchlights. As always, a quick reminder to stay on mute and use the chat box if you have any questions or comments during today's session. We will also share links to the resources mentioned so that you can explore them in more detail afterwards. Our focus today is engagement and well-being, two themes that have risen sharply on policy agendas globally. In England, for example, Ofsted's revised inspection framework places attendance and well-being right at the heart of the new judgment areas. And internationally, organisations like UNESCO have been calling for a shift in the education systems, moving beyond narrow measures of attainment to give equal weight to student agency, belonging and well-being. This really is an issue of equal importance in schools wherever you are in the world. So let's get started, and I will pass you over to Polly.
Thanks, Debbie. So when we talk about engagement and well-being, what we're really talking about is whether young people feel safe, whether they feel connected, and also if they're feeling motivated in school. And as I'm sure most of you are aware, without those conditions, even with the best teachers in the world, that teaching and learning just won't happen. So when we understand that emotional well-being is often a key factor that's in absence among older pupils, it's really important that we work collaboratively to understand our learners' needs, to build a strong sense of community and belonging for them and their families, helping to reduce that risk of anxiety, stress, or a sense of disconnection that can then often lead to non-attendance. So this has been reinforced by findings in the recently published Confederation of Schools Trusts national report, where multi-academy trust leaders shared with researchers that the most effective strategies for improving attendance and engagement included the careful monitoring of data to spot those early warning signs, targeted interventions, and that strong communication and connection with families. And globally, that story is similar. The OECD School Partnerships report highlights how well-being is now seen as a shared responsibility. So involving not only teachers, as sometimes it often is, but also health professionals, families, and even edtech providers. So it is really widening out. We know that many regular viewers are based in the UAE, where well-being sits at the heart of ministry and regulator policy and vision. And here there are established well-being frameworks that expect schools to actively monitor, embed, and act on well-being data. And not just for the students, but for the staff too. And then elsewhere, we've got a 2019 report from UNICEF which examined evidence from the Southeast Asia Primary Learning Metrics 2019 database, which reinforced how wellbeing and engagement are deeply linked to learning outcomes across 6 countries. So lots of reports there, and they are being shared in the chat. So please do have a look at those reports when you have a bit of time. And now wellbeing exists across multiple domains. So you've got psychological, you have social, physical, intellectual, and digital. And this broad view may be especially helpful for schools looking to create a whole school culture of engagement, as it reminds us that wellbeing is fundamental to learning and must be fully embedded into our systems and practice. So I'm going to hand over to Debbie, who's going to sort of tell us a little bit more, not so much about the why, but then how we do embed those good practices.
Thank you, Polly. So let's move on from the why to the how. What can schools actually do to build engagement and wellbeing into everyday practice? The first step is listening to students, whether through surveys, check-ins, or focus groups. It's about creating what the OECD call listening loops. Students need to see that their voice matters, and that feedback leads to real change. Tools like PASS, Pupil Attitude to Self in School, can be powerful. PASS measures attitudes to school and learning, shining a light on things like confidence, motivation, or sense of belonging. It provides data that can guide conversations with students and their families, and importantly, it can validate what you are already noticing in the classroom or help you spot those things that might be masking their difficulties. Second, schools need to adopt tiered approaches to support. Just as they would for students with special educational needs, this means looking not only for those already struggling, but also proactively creating universal conditions where every learner can thrive. For example, embedding social and emotional learning into the curriculum, using short check-in routines at the start and end of lessons, or offering flexible ways for students to show what they know. Third, teachers need practical tools that make engagement manageable. We're often asked, though, what do I do once I have the data? Well, PASS itself has a large bank of interventions mapped to each of the 9 factors measured by the survey. These research-informed practical strategies are available via our website, PASS interventions-GL support, and can be used as a foundation to help you build your whole school approach or meet the individual needs of your students. And following this, there is also Nearpod. Unfortunately, our colleague Alex couldn't be with us this morning as he is out in the Middle East, but he has kindly recorded us a video to share a bit more about what Nearpod is and some practical ways that it could help you support engagement and well-being in your school.
Thanks, Debbie. I'm just going to share my screen now and share that video from Alex. So just bear with me whilst we sort that out for you. Okay, hope Debbie, can you see the video okay there?
Not yet. It says just, it's come up now, Polly.
Perfect. I will play the video now.
Okay, that's recorded. Great, thank you so much for that, Emma. So just to introduce myself, my name's Alex and I look after Europe, Middle East and Africa for Nearpod. So we work together with kind of all the GL and Renaissance side to look after teaching and learning. In terms of what Nearpod is, it's a digital teaching and learning platform that really kind of helps make lessons a little bit more interactive and engaging, and also more inclusive every single day in the classroom. The way that it works is teachers have two ways of teaching lessons. So one of them is by doing a live lesson where teachers will join in with their students on devices and they can get that real-time feedback loop and also make those lessons a bit more adaptive to the students. And at the same time, what they can also do is deliver student-paced lessons where really what they're able to do is ensure that students are kind of having that work that's a bit more suited to their needs and do some different things at home if they need to as well. It can support with well-being in so many different ways, but the best way to do it is just by showing one of our kind of specific lessons that we can use. So this is what our content looks like, where you can see on one side we have our teach device, on the other side we have a student device, and as teachers click through, the content will move through for the students as well. One way which I think can be really powerful to support with wellbeing in the classroom is through the immersive reader, which is available for all students in every single lesson. So students just need to click on this button here, and then they're able to have content that's given to them in more of a broken down way to make sure that it can meet all of their different needs, whether it be for SEND or EAL, which are obviously internationally two of the key things that we face to support schools with every single day. What students are able to do is the first step is they can click on their word and they get a more visual aid to kind of give them everything they need in the classroom to kind of have that first step. But obviously sometimes that's not quite enough. And so what they're able to do is they can go through and translate their content. And in this case, what I've done is I've put this into Arabic, where what you're able to do is have your question translated to any kind of language you need, and then eventually have it sort of ready for every student's need as they go through. The students will then put in their answer in here. So for example, the answer I'll put in here will say Mars is a planet. I can click submit. And for the teachers, what comes through, you'll see in about 2 seconds time, is the answer will come through with all of the kind of feedback for the group. So the way that this can really help with wellbeing is obviously your teachers are getting all of their scores and they know in the real time whether they're able to kind of stay on their answer or move through. But at the same time, what teachers can also do is they can share those answers out. And this really kind of helps for students, particularly on those factors 2 and 3 when it comes to the pass for that perceived learning capability and the learner self-regard. Because what you're actually able to do is share those answers out anonymously. And what he found is it really kind of helps those students just feel a bit more comfortable to share those answers. And eventually it will have that kind of chain reaction where once they participate more and you can celebrate their learning, it will continue to grow and grow and grow, just to make sure that you have everything you need to kind of give those students the opportunity to share their answers as well. There's so many different activities that you can use to match in with different profiles. For example, we have that more open response, but there's more closed visual response, as you can see here too. So all your students will ever need to do is on their own devices, they can go through just answering different questions. And as we do go through, your teachers do get that immediate feedback again, just to kind of see whether things work in certain ways for them, or if they need to go back over that work too. It's obviously not just about student wellbeing that we can focus on, it's also on teacher wellbeing. And that's where we can have a look at really supporting teachers by making sure that they have all of their resources ready to use in our Nearpod library, where all they need to do is they can search either by grade, subject, or if there's a certain topic they want to teach, such as addition in this case, all they ever need to do is they can click search for their information here. They can click a certain lesson. So let's go to this one here. And all they ever need to do is I'll just click add to their library. They'll go to the top of their library and then they've got a full lesson on that topic ready to teach and ready to kind of import and use their own content. Teachers can also import their own slides in here as well. So if there's certain content that they will use to really support with that kind of wellbeing aspect, they have that full side of things too. And also there's a full 21st century library. That 21st century library includes certain resources that really cover some of those topics that maybe it's a bit more difficult to address after using your past data in that SEL side of things, particularly when it comes to having a look at how we can support with SEL and digital life. So there's so many different things that you can use. Obviously, I have 5 minutes, but I could spend a lot longer talking about absolutely everything. But please reach out to me or to Emma if you do have any questions, and we'd be more than happy to help.
Okay, I'll stop sharing the video. I hope that was useful to you. As Alex mentioned, that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. It was very quick, but there's lots that Nearpods can offer. We are just going to pop a small poll up on the screen, just so if you'd like to find out more about either PASS or Nearpod, if you complete the poll, then we can get in touch with you afterwards. to give you those extra details. So if you'd like to find out about just Nearpod, that's fine, or PASS, or both. Or if you're not interested at this time, that's also fine too. So if we just complete that poll, whilst I carry on with the illuminations. So we saw in that video some great ideas for how Nearpod can be used to support the social and emotional curriculum. And Debbie went into a little bit of detail about PASS as well, so that pupil attitudes to self and school survey. But what are our takeaway tips for today? So a couple of things is thinking about how you could be creating those opportunities for listening to your learners, even your youngest learners, who sometimes you think potentially they're a little bit too young to understand, but actually there are some great ways in which you can engage those really young learners. So have a look at that OECD International Early Learning and Child Wellbeing Report, or consider exploring the value held within PASS data if you make use of that already. And we do have that post-testing essentials video that you can have a look at. Consider how learning tools like Nearpod might help to improve student agency, and how you might be able to connect data with practice. And then for those of you where attendance still remains a challenge, we would highly recommend the recently published online attendance magazine. So we'll pop a link into the chat with that for you there. It's introducing attendance, a global conversation on education. So that's really useful as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. I will pass over to Debbie, who will tell you a little bit about next month.
Thank you, Polly. And thank you all very much for joining us today. We hope that this session has given you a clearer picture of why engagement and wellbeing matter so much, and some practical ways to support them within your settings. Our next episode is one that we are particularly excited about, and you'll learn why on November the 6th, when once again we will be joined by the lovely Becky Hawes, who will be helping us to demystify executive functioning. And we very much look forward to seeing you all there. And finally, if you could please take a moment just to complete our short feedback survey via the QR code, which will be shown on the screen in a moment. There it is. If you do have your camera handy and you can scan the PR code, we would love to hear your feedback, because your thoughts do really help us to shape future sessions. And once again, thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate that your time is very precious, and it's lovely to see so many people joining from all around the world. So I'd like to say goodbye for now and look forward to seeing you on November the 4th. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.